Welcome to Wedding Studio, the podcast from You Had Me at I Do for wedding officiants who want stronger ceremonies, steadier business, and couples who feel truly cared for. Each episode, hosts Mike and Jen share practical tips, real workflows, and lessons from actual weddings, the kind of advice working pros can use right away. Wedding Studio is produced by the team behind Studio by You Had Me at I Do, the software built to run a modern wedding business. The advice comes first. And yes, the team hopes what you hear here makes you curious enough to explore the platform. When a tip connects to a tool, they'll say so. Learn more at youhadmeatido.app. Better weddings, better business, less chaos. Now, here's Mike and Jen.
Picture this scene. I mean, we have all been there, right? It is Friday evening, the venue is finally booked, the sun is starting to set, and the couple standing at the front of the room is just visibly exhausted.
Oh, yeah. Completely drained.
Right. They are anxious, they're way overprepared, and decision fatigue is clearly set in. Yet whoever is running the rehearsal is treating this next hour like it is, I don't know, a Broadway dress rehearsal.
Big opening night on Broadway, yeah?
Exactly. They are running every single reading in its entirety. They're asking the couple to practice their vows out loud in front of the whole wedding party.
Yeah.
The officiant is up there reading the welcome speech word for word. You look at your watch, and it has been, 90 minutes?
At least 90 minutes.
The wedding party is bored out of their minds, looking at their phones. The emotional impact of the ceremony is just completely spent. And the most frustrating part is that the essential logistical questions for tomorrow, like who is actually responsible for handing over the rings, those are still somehow unanswered.
Yeah, that scene is practically a universal experience for anyone who works in the wedding industry. I mean, for those of you listening, whether you are officiating, coordinating, DJing, or just stepping in to manage logistics on your weekends, you know exactly how painful that room feels.
Oh, it is the worst.
It really is, because you balance this weekend work with your other careers and responsibilities. Your time and your energy are incredibly valuable. You just cannot afford to waste a Friday night on a rehearsal that drains everyone and, frankly, doesn't actually prepare a single person for Saturday.
That is exactly why today's deep dive is all about flipping that script. We are digging into a really practical playbook from a company called You Had Me at I Do.
Which is such a great resource.
It is. And the insights we are unpacking today, they aren't just theoretical ideas. They are hard-won practices shaped by that company's 25 years of experience and, honestly, over 400 completed weddings.
That is a lot of trial and error to learn from.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And their core premise is a massive paradigm shift for a lot of people. Basically, your job at a rehearsal isn't to make people feel the ceremony. Your job is to make the ceremony work.
I love that framing. We really have to start by understanding the baggage people bring into that room, though, because the reason a rehearsal balloons into a 90-minute disaster is because everyone arrives with completely misaligned expectations.
Right. Everyone wants something different.
Exactly. The couple is nervous, so their instinct is to hear the whole ceremony just to feel secure. Then the wedding party assumes they are going to be standing at attention for 20 straight minutes because they just don't know any better. And the parents often view the rehearsal as the official start of the wedding weekend, so they expect this full emotional preview of tomorrow.
But when you let those emotional expectations dictate the evening, you burn through essential energy that the couple desperately needs for the actual wedding day. Reading through this makes me think of a film crew doing blocking on a movie set.
Oh, that is a perfect analogy.
Right. If a director is setting up a complex scene, they don't ask the lead actors to cry and give their absolute best Oscar-winning emotional performance during a lighting test.
No, of course not.
The director just needs to know. The actors hit their tape marks on the floor, the camera focus puller can see them, and nobody trips over a lighting cable. The rehearsal is a blocking session, pure and simple.
That film set analogy highlights the exact mechanism of a successful walkthrough. You are establishing the physical framework so the emotional performance can happen naturally the next day. But to create that framework, you have to set a definitive boundary the absolute second you start.
Like right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. The moment everyone gathers, you project your voice and deliver one clear sentence. You say, "We are here to practice movement and timing, not to perform the ceremony."
Wow, just shut it down immediately.
Yes. Laying that out immediately provides cover for the rest of the evening. Because 10 minutes later, when an uncle asks if he should practice his full toast, or the couple nervously asks if they should read their vows aloud just to, get the jitters out, you have already established the operational rule of the room.
You can just point back to that one sentence.
Exactly. You're strictly focused on processional order, walk paths, who is holding the rings, testing microphone handoffs, and identifying the one person in the room who has the authority to make a day of decision.
Which is so crucial. But setting that boundary also dictates who should actually be in the room in the first place. I mean, you cannot run an efficient film blocking session if the set is filled with extras who aren't even in the scene.
It's just a recipe for chaos.
It really is. Inviting too many people is the fastest way to lose control because of basic crowd psychology. When you bring an audience into a rehearsal, human nature shifts. The wedding party stops focusing on the physical instructions and starts performing for the audience.
They start goofing off.
Yep, they goof off, they get distracted, and suddenly a simple 30-minute walkthrough stretches into an hour of noise. Reading through the company's guidelines, it becomes very clear who is necessary and who disrupts the flow.
Let's break that down. Who actually makes the cut?
Okay, so the necessary group is strictly limited to the couple, anyone actually walking in the processional, and anyone with a specific physical role in the ceremony. That means your readers, your ring bearers, and your flower children.
That makes sense. Keep it tight.
Yeah, and there is a crucial note in the sources about children, actually. If there are kids involved, there must be a responsible adult anchor assigned to them at the rehearsal. You can't just hope for the best.
Oh, absolutely not.
You also need one logistics point person, like a planner, venue coordinator, or, a trusted friend if it is a DIY setup.
Beyond that core group, you only include people whose physical presence dictates timing or space. So parents are included if they're being seated in a specific choreographed way.
Right.
The DJ or musician is vital if the processional music relies on highly complex visual cues. And sometimes the photographer needs to be there if the venue has an unusual layout, and tricky sight lines need to be confirmed. But you really have to draw a hard line at extended family, out-of-town guests, or vendors who just need a timeline sent via email.
I hear you, but let's be real for a second. The reality of wedding weekends is that couples sometimes insist on bringing the whole family anyway, or out-of-town guests just wander into the venue because they assume it is part of the welcome festivities.
Well, it happens all the time.
Right. So when a massive crowd shows up, despite your best efforts, managing them without coming off as a dictator requires a very specific approach. How do you handle that? The sources suggest that you can be warm without sacrificing your structure.
You manage that dynamic by manipulating your attention. It's a great trick. When the uninvited crowd arrives, you greet them warmly. You project your voice, welcome them to the venue, and explain the plan clearly using that exact same boundary sentence.
We are here for movement and timing.
Precisely. You tell them this is just a quick meeting for movement and timing. And then you ruthlessly focus your attention only on the people who have to move. You physically turn your back to the audience and face the wedding party.
Literally turn your back.
I love that. It works.
Yeah.
You do not manage the spectators, you manage the participants. By ignoring the audience, you signal to the wedding party that this is work, not a show.
Okay, so once you have corralled the participants and established that boundary, the challenge shifts to pacing. The playbook outlines a highly effective strategy to execute this entire process in under 30 minutes.
30 minutes feels fast, but it's totally doable.
It is, but the trick to hitting that time frame isn't rushing. It is establishing a logical sequence of movement. Rather than running the ceremony from top to bottom, you start by setting the geography of the room.
Because people cannot process instructions if they don't know where they belong in space.
Right. If they're lost, they're not listening.
Exactly. So the first thing you do is state your purpose again, and then you physically point out the landmarks. You spend the first 5 minutes just showing them where guests will sit, where the couple will stand, where the officiant will stand, and the exact exit path for the recessional. Once everyone understands the map of the room, then you can get them moving.
And getting them moving means running the processional emplacement. But the key here is the speed. You walk the order at what the sources call rehearsal pace, which is significantly slower than the actual wedding pace.
Why slower?
Going slow prevents the accordion effect where everyone bunches up at the front. You don't read any script during this phase. You just declare the actions out loud in plain language.
Yeah.
Music starts, guests stand, first person walks. You call out the names in order, confirm their escorts, and confirm exactly where they land when they get to the front.
And that arrival at the front is where you solidify those adult anchors for unpredictable kids. If you have a flower girl or a toddler ring bearer who might freeze or go rogue, you do not just hope for the best.
Because they will absolutely go rogue.
Oh, guaranteed. So you plan a backup holder for the rings right then and there, and you declare it out loud to the group. You look at the best man or the maid of honor and say, if the toddler won't walk tomorrow, you have the real rings. It removes the panic from the situation instantly.
That is so smart. After the processional is set, usually around the 15-minute mark, you move into the core mechanics of the ceremony. We are skipping the spoken script entirely and focusing purely on the physical beats.
The physical beats are what trip people up anyway.
Right. This is where you figure out when the couple faces each other, when the bouquet gets handed off, and where the reader actually stands when they deliver their piece. And there's a fascinating observation on human behavior in the source material regarding this exact phase. When people are under stress, their verbal memory completely shuts down, but their spatial memory remains intact.
Oh, 100%. Muscle memory always overrides verbal instruction in high-pressure environments. Saying, stand stage left means absolutely nothing to a groomsman whose heart is pounding while wearing a heavy suit in the summer heat.
Stage left is completely abstract at that point.
Exactly. But saying, stand so your shoulder lines up with that oak tree, gives him a concrete, physical landmark.
The sources refer to these as walk marks. If the venue allows it, placing a small piece of tape on the floor or strategically moving a chair creates a visual anchor that a nervous wedding party member can rely on when their brain goes blank. And that muscle memory isn't just for the nervous groomsmen.
No, not at all.
The professional in the room, the officiant, is actually the most likely person to ruin a critical moment if they don't practice their own physical boundaries.
Yes. Officiants who forget to mark their own exit step are the ones who accidentally photobomb the couple's first kiss pictures.
Oh, I've seen that photo so many times. It's tragic.
It really is. So during this mechanical phase, the officiant must literally practice stepping out of the frame before pronouncing the couple. You have to figure out if you were stepping left, right, or completely down the stairs, and you have to know exactly where your foot lands so you don't trip while trying to get out of the photographer's shot.
Because nobody wants the officiant hovering like a ghost in the background of the most romantic photo of the day.
Definitely not.
So once those core mechanics and walk marks are locked in, the logical next step is figuring out how everyone actually leaves the room. Running the recessional order ensures there isn't a massive traffic jam at the altar.
You have to know how to get out.
Right. You confirm if the couple is exiting alone or if the wedding party is following them immediately. You also lock in how the guests are being dismissed, whether it's a row-by-row release or a general announcement directing them to cocktail hour.
By breaking the rehearsal down into these purely physical phases, geography, arrival, mechanics, and exit, you completely eliminate the dead air that usually stretches a walkthrough into an hour-long ordeal. But cutting out the performance element brings up one specific conflict you will inevitably face.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yep. Couples will almost always try to practice their vows, and the playbook is incredibly strict about forbidding it.
Okay, I want to push back on that rule for a moment just to explore the psychology of it. If a couple is terrified of public speaking, and a large percentage of people are, wouldn't mumbling through the vows on the microphone help them get a feel for it? Doesn't exposing themselves to the room reduce that acute anxiety?
I get why people think that. It might reduce anxiety, but it does so by deflating the emotional weight of the moment. Vows are private, deeply personal promises. In many cases, the wedding day is the very first time the couple is hearing each other's words.
That's true. It's a huge reveal.
Right. If you let them practice reading those words aloud at the rehearsal, you expose a moment meant to be a surprise to an audience of 15 people in casual clothes on a Friday night. You just steal the impact. The goal is to rehearse the mechanics of the vows, not the content.
Rehearsing the mechanics makes a lot of sense when you break down what actually goes wrong during vows. It is rarely the words that cause the problem. It is the physical awkwardness.
The fumbling.
Yes, the fumbling. You have a bride holding a bouquet, trying to hold her partner's hand, and suddenly someone is handing her a microphone and a piece of paper. It is a logistical nightmare if it isn't practiced.
That is exactly what you drill during the walkthrough. You confirm the format. Are they doing a repeat after me, or are they reading from a card? You practice the microphone handoff.
The handoff is so awkward if you don't practice it.
It really is. You practice where the vow cards are coming from, too. Are they pulling them from a jacket pocket, a dedicated vow book, or is an attendant handing them over? And you confirm who is speaking first. You simply tell the couple, flat out, we will not read vows today. Notice their body language when you say that. The pressure immediately lifts.
That makes total sense. If we are entirely skipping the vows in the script, the rehearsal isn't totally silent, though. The sources point out that you must practice functional, out-loud cues. The officiant needs to say, please rise, so the guests and the wedding party know what that auditory cue sounds like in the room. They also need to say, please be seated.
Oh, that specific cue, please be seated, is forgotten constantly.
Is it really?
All the time. Officiants get so focused on delivering their opening remarks perfectly that they forget to tell the crowd to sit down, leaving guests standing awkwardly for the first 10 minutes of the ceremony.
Oh, that's so uncomfortable for everyone.
It's terribly uncomfortable. Practicing that cue out loud builds it into the officiant's muscle memory. You also practice saying, face each other, so the couple knows exactly when to physically turn, and may I have the rings, so the ring holder recognizes their cue to step forward. These are mechanical triggers, not emotional delivery.
Establishing those mechanical triggers works beautifully when everyone is present. But real-world chaos is basically guaranteed, and the perfect plan often hits a wall when a bridesmaid gets stuck in terrible traffic or a flight is delayed.
It always happens. Someone is always late.
Exactly. When someone inevitably misses the rehearsal, the instinct is often to pause and wait, or to scramble and track them down.
The primary rule for managing that chaos is simple, though. Do not cancel and do not delay. You run the plan anyway with the stand-in. You tap someone on the shoulder and assign them the role for the next 20 minutes.
Just keep moving forward.
Yes. The trap many weekend professionals fall into is becoming the rehearsal police. They start hunting down late groomsmen across 12 different group text threads, which only elevates the stress in the room. That is not your job. Let the couple or the planner handle the absent parties. Your job is to run the walkthrough with whoever is actually standing in front of you.
That approach maintains your authority and keeps the evening moving. For the people who are missing, the follow-up should be strictly practical. You send a very short note to an absent reader telling them where to stand and what the microphone plan is. You do not send them the full ceremony script to review. But what if the chaotic element isn't a missing bridesmaid, but the couple themselves?
Believe it or not, it happens more frequently than people realize. Hair and makeup trials run late, or welcome dinners overlap. If the couple is missing, you walk through the movement with the planner or a parent.
Really? You just do it without them?
You have to. You lock in as much of the physical framework as you can, and then you schedule a tight 10-minute virtual check-in with the couple for later that night or the next morning. A quick video call to confirm decisions is vastly superior to a confusing, panicked text conversation.
Managing that chaos effectively leads to the ultimate reality of rehearsals. Things change. The physical space looks different than the couple imagined. The bride's brother ends up replacing the best man for holding the rings. The processional order shifts because two people don't want to walk next to each other. The unity candle gets moved inside because of the wind.
Rehearsals are dynamic, which means they produce changes. And if you do not document those changes immediately, the entire 30-minute exercise was essentially pointless.
Because everyone forgets.
Exactly. The couple will forget the changes under stress. The wedding party will forget them. You will forget them. The best practice to secure those changes is to read your notes aloud to the group before you officially end the rehearsal, saying, okay, just to confirm, we changed the ring holder to David, and the grandparents are now staying seated, forces verbal confirmation from the room.
The phrase from the playbook that really drives this home is that a rehearsal that does not produce an updated plan is just a social hour with flowers.
I love that phrase. It's so true.
To avoid that, you close the evening by establishing a clear administrative habit. You keep everything strictly logistical to protect everyone's energy, and you cement your professional authority by ending the walkthrough with 3 definitive sentences.
Those 3 sentences act as the final boundary of the night. Sentence 1, here is what we confirmed today. Sentence 2, here is what still needs to happen before tomorrow, like finding the marriage license or saving the final vows. Sentence 3, here is when everyone needs to be in their places tomorrow.
So simple, but so effective.
Very. Once you deliver those sentences, you release the group. You do not linger in the venue lobby trying to rewrite your ceremony script on the fly.
Right, you leave the venue, but the practical application of the rehearsal requires one final step. As soon as you get back to your hotel or your home that night, while the visual memory of the room is completely fresh, you must update your script cues and your seating chart. For the professionals listening who use the studio workspace to manage their ceremonies, this is when you log into You Had Me at ido.app.
Highly recommend doing it right away.
Yes, you make those structural updates in the folio right then and there, so your day of script is locked, accurate, and ready to print. You do not wait until Saturday morning. You finalize it at youhadme@ido.app before your head hits the pillow.
Doing that administrative work on Friday night clears your mental RAM. Your future self at the altar on Saturday will be incredibly grateful that the details are handled.
Setting yourself up for success practically is huge, but there is a deeper psychological impact to running a rehearsal this way. Think about how setting a firm, calm, 30-minute boundary fundamentally changes how the other vendors treat you the next day.
It changes everything.
It really does. When the wedding planner, the venue manager, and the photographer watch you execute a tight, drama-free walkthrough on a Friday night, their perception of you shifts entirely.
You cease to be just another weekend vendor in their eyes. You become the undisputed anchor of the room. You prove that you understand crowd dynamics, you respect the couple's time, and you can solve spatial problems without making a scene or demanding a spotlight.
Earning that trust on Friday means that on Saturday, when the room gets loud and the timeline starts to slip, the rest of the vendor team will look to you for calm direction. So the next time you find yourself standing at a venue, tempted to let the evening spiral into a 90-minute emotional dress rehearsal, remember the core mission. Your job isn't to wring tears out of the wedding party on a Friday. Your job is to build a framework so that on Saturday, the only thing the couple has to focus on is the moment itself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Wedding Studio from You Had Me at I Do. For links, resources, episode notes, and anything Mike and Jen mentioned today, visit youhadmeatido.app/podcast. And while you're there, take a look at Studio by You Had Me at I Do, the software built to help wedding pros manage the couple, the wedding, and the business behind it all. Better weddings, better business, less chaos. We'll see you next time on Wedding Studio.